Hi, I'm Christian Triola, author of The Missing Method for Guitar books. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to play the song Disarm by Smashing Pumpkins. But before we get started, make sure you download the PDF. I've written out all the parts to the song so that you can follow along and so that you can practice it when you don't have the video handy. Also, be sure to go to themissingmethod.com. There you can find out about all of our books, and if you sign up for our newsletter, you'll get a free ebook, so keep that in mind. All right, so let's get to Disarm. Now, the song Disarm was the Smashing Pumpkins' second big hit off the album Siamese Dream, which came out in 1993. The first one, of course, was Today. That's the name of the song. That's a great song as well, and hopefully I'll be doing that in a future video. But even though that was their first big hit off the album, the first song that I ever heard by them happened to be Disarm. And so I listened to it a bunch of times. I loved the cello parts on there. The strings sounded so cool. And there was just something huge and yet a little unnerving about the whole song. And I loved it. Every time it came on the radio, I would just shut up and listen. I just couldn't get enough of it. And one of the things I really liked about it is you could hear this driving acoustic guitar part throughout the whole thing. Even though you have strings and you have this great big bell, like church bell going on in the background, it was really the heart of the song for me, especially at the time since I was just learning how to play guitar. Now, what happened then is I had only ever bought one guitar magazine before this in my life because I haven't been playing very long. So I picked one up when I saw in the corner it said it shows you how to play Disarm by Smashing Pumpkins. And you can see on here we have Dimebag Darrell from Pantera on the cover, which made it pretty cool. Trent Reznor in the corner. And I mean, this particular issue is just loaded with great tunes. It has Disarm by Smashing Pumpkins. It has Creep by STP, Stone Temple Pilots. It has a highly underrated Metallica song, Am I Evil? That's really fun to play if you've never tried it out. And the Pink Floyd hit, Wish You Were Here. I mean, I couldn't pass this up. It was great. And this is the actual issue from 1994 when I got this. So $3.50 back then too. All right, so let's take a look at the song Disarm. Now, one of the good things about this is not only does it help build endurance because of how you have to strum it, but you also learn a kind of cliche chord progression. In fact, this chord progression and variations on it are used in countless numbers of songs. So you have an E minor 7th technically, you have a C add 9, you have a G major, then you have a D/F sharp. That chord progression and variations on it are seen in so many songs. One that comes to mind that's very, very similar is Oasis Wonderwall. It's not exactly like that, but it's very similar. I've seen country songs that have that chord progression in it. I've seen pop tunes with that chord progression. So once you learn Disarm, you'll start seeing this come up again and again and again. At least that's exactly what happened to me. I learned this one, and all these other songs are like, hey, wait, that's like Disarm. And so it's a good point of reference tune to learn. So let's get started learning the tune itself. Okay, so first, let's take a look at the intro. The first chord we have is that E minor 7th. And so you can get that a couple different ways. First thing you do is get the regular E minor chord. In this case, you put your first finger on string 5 fret 2 and your second finger on string 4 fret 2. Then I usually just keep the other two fingers on strings 1 and 2. You have one on fret 3 and the other one on fret 3. And when you strum all 6 strings, get a really full sounding E minor 7th chord. Now, I've seen some versions of this song where they just do the 3-note version where you don't use the first string at all. And I think when you hear this song, you really don't hear that first string. That's probably why they do that. You kind of hear that second string as the highest note. So I think even though your fingers are down on an E minor 7th chord, you really only want to strum to that second string. So we have that as our first chord. We go down, up with a quick 16th note strum, which is actually a pickup note. And then we strum 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. On that last 4, we change chords. So here's the sound of that. And a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now the traditional way of counting that would be and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And on that last and is when you would change chords. But I think if you think of it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, it's easier to keep track of where you are, and you know that next 4, you change chords. So that next chord is C add 9. So that one, you have your second finger on the note C, which is the 5th string, 3rd fret. You have your index finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret, 3rd string open. Then your other 2 fingers don't have to move from where they were on the E minor 7th. They're still on the first 2 strings, fret 3. Here's what that sounds like. And on this one, you strum basically 4, because that's the last beat, or the last half a beat of the first measure. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then it changes chords. So here are the first 2 chords in the intro to Disarm. And a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, change, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then finally you switch chords. So one more time without me talking over it. The next chord's real easy. We just go to G. To do that, you take these 2 fingers, fingers 1 and 2, move them over to the last 2 strings. So you're on the same frets, just bump it right over to string 6 and string 5. You have a G chord, and now you strum the G chord a little longer than the other ones. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and Now again, traditionally that would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and So that's how you normally count it. But again, to keep track of things, it's sometimes easier to count it the other way. So here's the whole G chord section. And that leads us to the last chord, which is D/F sharp. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep these 2 fingers in the same spot. We're going to keep them right on that 3rd fret, lift off the other 2 fingers, put your middle finger on the note A, which is the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and your index finger on the note F sharp. And that's why it's called /F sharp. Because basically what you have here is a D chord, but F sharp is our lowest note. Now you want to be careful either to lift off the pinky off the 1st string or simply don't strum that one. The reason is that gives you a suspended sound there, which you don't want. You just want to keep that D/F sharp sound there. So here's what that sounds like. We just have 1, 2, 3, and that's all you do with the D/F sharp. So in that measure, we start with G, 1, 2, 3, down, up, D, 2, 3, down, up. Okay, and that takes care of the first part of the intro. So all together, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3, and a. Now the next line is exactly the same. We just don't have that 16th note pickup into the E minor 7th. So there we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, change. And up G. And that's the whole intro. Just those chords, that's how you strum it. Now in the song, it's played much faster than that. So you have something more like... it continues. Now the nice thing is, since you've learned the intro, you already know the verse. It's exactly the same. You're just playing the E minor, C add 9, G, D/F sharp, exactly the same way all the way through. Now at the end of the verse, that kind of leads you into the chorus, you're going to change chords there. You play that chord progression that I just mentioned 4 times in a row. At the end of those 4 times, you play this. You just grab a regular C chord, which is 5th string 3rd fret, 4th string 2nd fret, open 3rd, 1st fret on the 2nd string, open 1st. And it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3, and a. Or traditionally, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and a. And that's kind of our setup into the chorus section, which is what we're going to take a look at next. So before we get into the chorus, let me play through the whole verse just so you can hear what it'll sound like all together. So this is without the intro. Now you may have noticed there toward the end of the chorus I did make one change that I forgot to mention before, and that is in the last line you actually don't go through the whole G chord section like you do before. It's actually this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, change to D for 4, and then 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3, and then it goes into the C chord. So I kind of forgot about that. I'm glad I found that while I was playing. So again, that's the last line of the verse before the C chord. Okay, now we are ready to go on to the chorus. So the chorus starts off with a C chord, and you strum it like this: 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and a. So that takes care of the first 2 measures. Again, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and a. Then it changes to the E minor 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Switch to D on 4, and that's actually held over into the next measure. So when you get to the next measure, 1 is held over, so it's 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and a. And then it goes back to the C chord. And the C chord now lasts for 4 full measures with an and a at the end of measures 2 and measures 4. So it's like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and a. Then it switches back to E minor 7th, and we do just like we did before in the chorus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, D, hold over, 2 and 3 and 4, and a C again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and a. And then the C continues on into the next line. It starts off just like it does at the beginning of the chorus. So we have 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and an E minor 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, D, and 2, and 3, and 4, and a C, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and a. Now the next part is the only part like it in the song, and it is part of only the first chorus. So you get an E minor chord, E minor 7th chord, hit the bass note, hit the chord, hit the bass note, and then the D chord. So all together it sounds like this. So get the E minor chord, bass note, chord, chord again, switch to D. Chord, bass, chord, chord, D. 2, 3, 4. On the anda, it's back to E minor 7, and a 1, and a 3, 4, D chord. So let me go back over that. I'm going to start with the C chord that comes before that change. And so it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and a 2, 3, 4, and a 1, and a 3, 4, and then and 2, and 3, and a. So at the very end of that measure, you switch to a C and a 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and a 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and a. So the end of that chorus section just goes all the way out with C. So that's a lot to take in. So that's definitely a part you're going to either want to print the PDF to check out or just keep watching this video over and over again to get those details. But right now I'm going to play through the whole chorus section and then we'll take a look at one more part of the song. All right, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then from there, it goes back and you play the verse again. And now there is one part of the song left, and that is the second chorus that leads you into the outro. So it's different enough that I like to think of it as its own separate section of the song. Now it's very similar to the first chorus for a lot of it, but then there are some changes as it goes along. So let's take a look at chorus 2 with the outro. All right, so chorus 2 starts off with the C chord again, and it goes to E minor and D, just like the last chorus. So it's 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Hold over. So the next line after you do that is almost the same. This time there's no holdover on the D. There's an extra strum in there, which can make it a little bit tricky. So here's what it sounds like. Starting with the C chord, we have C, minor, D. So you can hear that is a little bit different there. On the E minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and up. And it continues from there. But it's very similar. It just has that one extra little strum that can really throw you off. The next line, same thing. We have the C chord the same way, E minor 7th, then the D chord. The line after that, it starts to change. We start off with the C, same strum pattern. Then when we get to the D, then it goes to E minor, so that's different. It's D, then E minor, and when you go to that E minor, it's on the and of 4, the last part of 4, that's held over. And then you would strum it just as you did before. So let me go through that whole line starting on C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. Next line, same thing. Then the last line is almost the same, but the difference is at the very end where we have the da-da, the down up 16th notes, it changes to a D chord there right away. So we have C, D, E minor, and then at the very last second we switch to D before it takes us to the very end. So here is the last line of the third page of the PDF coming toward the end of the song. So we have C to start, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and a D, E minor, E minor, E minor. And at the very end, you have that big C chord to end that. So I'm going to go over that again because those last two lines are different from everything else. Starting with the C chord, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1, 2 and 3 and 4 E minor and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E minor and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1. All right, so I had a little pause there to catch my breath toward the end there, but I think you get the idea. I'm going to play through the whole second chorus with the outro just so you can hear it one more time, and then we'll wrap things up after that. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there you have it. That is the guitar part to Disarm by Smashing Pumpkins. It's a lot of fun to play. It does wear your hands out a little bit though, just keeping those chords sustained, keeping that timing sustained through the whole thing. And so do keep that in mind when you go to practice this one. But it's definitely good for building up finger strength and building up picking hand strength at the same time. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave them in the section below. Also, please do give it a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate it when people do that. Also, don't forget about that free ebook over our website, themissingmethod.com. All right, so get to practicing, download that PDF, and I will see you in the next video.